let's take our next story. You know, the apex court in the land, that's the Supreme Court, has been conducting its business without its full complement of 21 justices. I'm sure you know that by now. The last time it got close to the 21-man mark was in 2020, but owing to retirements and deaths, the apex bench has kept depleting, thus raising serious concerns among litigants and Nigerians in general. There's good news, though. The National Judicial Council, NJC, has recommended 11 justices to President Bola Tinubu for immediate appointment. We'll tell you just now that there are about 10 Supreme Court justices as we speak. Don't we are getting somewhere?
We are close to it. Because once once the president approves the 11, then
the rest is left to the Senate.
Yeah, it's left to the Senate. And the good news also is that the body that screened the judges, the justices, and recommended them, they did for 22, meaning that even if one is rejected, there are people on standby.
Yeah.
Though one of them died.
Okay, lamentably.
Yes, but you still have 10. So what we've had over the years, and which we've spoken about on this program, has been this backlog of cases pending at the Supreme Court, which we also have in other courts. So when you have 21 now, it makes it faster. Though there are other issues affecting or delaying dispensation of justice in our court. But this is one crucial one for the apex court. It's one crucial one, the number of judges. So when we are at this level, then they can begin to deal with the other issues in timely manner, like the fine that was imposed on a lawyer just this week for bringing what was termed a frivolous case.
Yeah.
You know, so we can begin to deal with that. But where you still don't have the full complement of justices, it's difficult. And, you know, we must give kudos to the Chief Justice of Nigeria, who is the head of the NJC, that he has done well with this. Because what we've known over the years, which some of us will classify as politics, has been the reluctance of some of the heads of this court to recommend other people to come in. It has also been the reluctance of some of those who headed what they call the interview committee of the Supreme Court to recommend other people to come on board because of this fight over seniority issue. So we are getting somewhere.
Yeah.
It's looking like we are beginning to see that Nigerians matter more than the politics of who becomes a justice of the Supreme Court.
Yeah. And the viewer must understand the figure has to be odd.
Yes, it must be odd.
Yeah.
Even for sittings, it's either 5 or 7 for every case that must be had.
So it's, again, we are retooling as a country, so they say slow and steady wins the race.
Yes, I was disturbed when a retiring Supreme Court judge claimed that it was deliberate to not allow the Supreme Court to have its full complement of justices. That was deliberate to not appoint justices into the Supreme Court. And but why? Our former president was slow in making appointments. But I wouldn't want to believe that it was deliberate to not appoint justices into the Supreme Court. And today, I'm happy because from the Southeast, for example, there were vacancies to be filled, and those vacancies have now been filled. And some of these justices are justices that we had known for some time. For example, the the judge that led the Presidential Election Petitions Court, Justice Haruna Samani, is one of these justices.
One of these new 11 waiting.
In line with the tradition, in 2019, 3 of them were promoted from the panel that tried the presidential election petitions. The same thing happened in 2003.
And the promotions,
the same thing happened
the promotions, we must state, are statutory.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are they're moving from the appeal court to the
Supreme Court.
To the Supreme Court. We have Justice Abiru, for example. You know, it may not have been long in the Court of Appeal, but it reminds me of the likes of Oguntade in terms of his erudition and knowledge. Then M.B. Idris also comes to my mind. That's the son of the former Chief Justice of the Federation, former CJN, Idris Kutigi.
Okay, Kutigi, I remember.
From Niger State.
The man from Niger State. M.B. Idris, his son, worked in the Ganifa Emi chambers. Brilliant man. He was the one who jailed Oju Zokalo. But that judgment was set aside because he had just been elevated to the appeal court. And then the law does not permit you to sit in 2 courts.
Yeah.
So they felt that he should have hands off that case the moment he got elevated to the appeal court. The law does not permit you to go ahead at that stage as somebody who had just been promoted to go and give judgment in the lower court. So for that reason,
the law allows us to go on a commercial break.
Yes,
now.
we'll come back and talk about it.
Yeah, we must. Yeah, stay with us. We'll take this break and return, please. Okay, then, let's take our story to a logical conclusion about the apex
Yes,
court.
well, yes. I was talking about some of the judges. Is a mix of very good judges and some good judges. Some of them, we're already familiar with them, having been following the judiciary for some time. So, former CJN, Kutigi, his son, M.B. Idris, has now been elevated
to
the Supreme Court. He has, and I said he worked with the chambers of F.R.A. Williams. His own younger brother, that's another Idris, is an FCT judge, but that one worked with Kehinde Sofola, son. You know, so but he's a judge of the.
They must have been bright minds to work with.
Yes, and you know, judges also do their best to train their children and also give them a good head start. They have the privilege of making use of those books. For example, if you are the son of Wole Olanipekun, for example, of course you are going to enjoy his books. My dad was the teacher of one of his sons. He said, look, you must become a lawyer. Because when you become a lawyer, you inherit your father's books. That was not what he wanted to do. You know? So, yes, because lawyers have plenty of books. So, the younger brother worked with Kehinde Sofola's son. And then we have Justice Nwosu Iheme from Southeast and Justice Jonah Ada. Jonah Ada was part of the Presidential Election Petitions Court.
Okay.
Another very brilliant judge. And Adumain, who read the judgment in Kano some weeks back, you know, where the CTC issue now became a big controversy. He's also one of those who have been elevated. And then, of course, Justice A.S. Umar from the Northwest, Justice Hannatu Sankey. I've been reading about Justice Hannatu Sankey for decades. You know, so I'm so happy she's a woman. I'm happy to see such a woman sitting in the apex court of our country. So I believe that now that we've sorted out this issue, the burden on those judges will at least go down. We were faced with a terrible situation the other day because some of the judges excused themselves from the presidential election petition, you know, for obvious reasons. You know? But there were not many. They had just 10 of them. Because the departure of Datijo, the one who retired recently, you know, the departure of Amina Auje, the wife of one of Nigeria's big broadcasters and diplomat.
Adamu.
You know? Yes, the Adamu Auje. You know, she too retired recently. And the place had been depleted. But it's a good thing that the vacancies have been filled and they found good judges to fill those vacancies. People with different strengths in different areas, you know. So I'm really happy. We can move forward now.
I talk about the Apex Court, Dotu. You know, they say if you get it at the Apex Court, then nowhere else to go. If you lose it there, nowhere else to go.
It's the last court. That's where you stop. It's the bus stop. So you must definitely have sound people sitting there. Otherwise, the judiciary would lose its team. And
I remember the father of Charlie Boy, you know.
Yeah.
Chukwudifo Puta. He said, we are not final because
we are
infallible. We are infallible because we are final.
Final, yeah. So they can't afford to commit errors.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Because once they speak, that's the end.
So the
they
next
like
stage...
God's representatives on earth.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because after them, then it is God's judgment that is next. So they have to be incorruptible. They have to be very knowledgeable. They have to dispense justice with the fear of God. With the fear of God. It's really important.
So, sometimes, Jide, you cannot run away from the setting at the Supreme Court of Yore in Nigeria.
Yes.
Where great men and
quality
women.
of erudition at that time, even at the level of the appeal court, you know, we also had some really bright judges. And today, people hardly talk about great judges that you can quote at any point in time. You know, Udo Duma,
Fataya Tonda Williams.
Yes, Sure. You know, Justice Showemimo. How many of those judges?
Taslim Elias?
Yes, Taslim Elias, who headed the World Court.
Yeah.
Justice Irikefe. I'm trying to remember. Aniagolu. Anthony Aniagolu.
Aniagolu, yeah.
Great judges. Judges. Anthony Aniagolu, incorruptible. Incorruptible. If you try to no way, you are not going to succeed. I think that we need such judges. It's not enough to be brilliant. You have to also...
I know Dotu would remember that Udo Doma was sent to Uganda. That's Elias to Gambia, right?
Yes. Today we still send our judges.
To the Gambia.
One of the judges on the Presidential Petitions Court had also worked in, I think, either Gambia or one of the...
Even we are the eggs also.
We still
you have the...
Is that particular one that gave this explanation that the embassy should have stamped that document? That
do I remember the particular case?
One of those judges that gave judgment
in the presidential.
Yes, I'll remember the name later. It was that explanation, the position of the law, was what he focused his own judgment on, and it effectively threw blew Atiku's case out of water, because he, being a judge who had served in other jurisdictions outside of our country, he knew exactly what the law says.
All right. Jide, so much about that. But now let's go to your state